Hello, students. I welcome you in the class of FYBA Optional English. I am Snehal Ratnakar Hegiste, Associate Professor in English. Today I want to introduce you Optional English paper. Already you have offered compulsory English at FYBA level. Compulsory English and Optional English. I want to know the present condition of English. You are learning English from first standard up to 12th standard. You have spent 12 years learning English. But when you think of outcome, what you have achieved during these 12 years, that is very important. After completing of 12 years of learning English, you can introspect what you have done. You have learned grammar, lessons, poems, but English is a language, and learning a language is a different thing from other papers that are economics, history, sociology. These are the social sciences. But when you learn language, you have to acquire skills. Language is a skill based subject. If you want to master language, you have to acquire four skills of language. When you study any language in the world, first skill of your language is that of a listening. You have to listen carefully. After listening, you can speak. Third one is reading, and fourth one is writing. So when you master these four skills, you can master any language in the world. So when you enter in the school, what happens? English. English is not your mother tongue. As born in a Marathi family, your mother tongue is Marathi. And naturally, you speak Marathi from your mother. It is your mother's language, it is your mother tongue. But when you enter in the first standard, English is introduced. Your teacher teaches you the syllables that are from A to Z. You learn A for apple, B for bat, C for cat. But what happens there? You cannot acquire that skill carefully. You have to listen English or any language if you want to master. So listening is the first step. When you study how Marathi child learns Marathi, first of all that child listens what mother says, and then it imitates lip positions. Mother talks with her child. She uses first of all very simple words just like Baba, Mama, Kaka. She repeats and repeats, and that child listens and observes lips of the mother and tries to say that words. So first step is carefully listening. Second one is speaking. So listening and speaking is acquired before entering in the school. So small child learns his or her language from her mother, listening and speaking. After that, the child is admitted to the school. After admission, teacher talks with them and teaches alphabets. Further, means she teaches teaches you reading. After reading, pen is given in your hand, pencil is given in your hand, and you start writing. So these are the four skills of the language. After acquiring these four skills, you master language. But what is the condition of English? You learn English as a second language. So we are learning English. Why we learn English? We are learning English because English is used as a link language. India is a multicultural and multilingual country. We have different states using different languages. If you enter in Karnataka, they will speak in Kannada, and you will speak in Maratha and Marathi. And what will happen? There will not be any communication between Kannada person and Marathi person. So you use there which language? English. English is used here as a link language. So English is necessary in our country because our country is a multicultural and multilingual country. We are living in the world of globalization and industrialization, and this is the modern age. So we have to acquire skills in English. When you talk about your last 12 years, I want to say that you have passed from one standard to another, first standard, second, third, up to 12, and after passing 12 standard, you are in FYBA. So, if you want to acquire knowledge, you have to listen carefully, then speak, and then read and then write. But already 12 years are passed. So what happens that our university has designed a syllabus, and name of our paper is modern Indian particularly writing in English translation. This is the name of our paper, and in this paper you are learning short stories. So I want to introduce you this paper for semester number 1 and paper number 1. We have to we have to study four stories and one general topic as a short story as a form of a literature. So literature, there are various forms of literature and short story is one of them. You have poetry, you have drama, then you have novels and short stories. So at FYBA level, our Board of Studies has prescribed you four short stories. So today I want to introduce you story written by Premchand, and name of that story is The Shroud. In this particular paper, you are learning modern Indian writing in English translation. Means you are learning stories that are written by Indian writers, but they are Indian writers in their own mother tongue, but they are translated in English. So, name of your paper is Modern Indian Writing in English Translation. So these stories are translated in English. So today we are discussing Premchand's The Shroud. Actually, Premchand is a Hindi writer. He is very famous and prominent Hindi writer. He was born in 31st July 1880 and he died on 8th October 1936. He is known as Munshi Premchand. Uh, he was an Indian writer famous for his modern Hindustani literature. He is very famous writer in Hindi literature and he is regarded as the foremost Hindustani writers of early 20th century. So he is a 20th century writer. He began writing under the pen name Nawab Rai and then switched to Premchand. So he is known as Premchand. He is a novel writer, story writer, and dramatist. He has been referred as an Upanyas Samrat. Upanyas is a Hindi word. Upanyas means what? Novel. So he is a famous novelist in Hindi, and his works include more than a dozen novels, and he has written 250 short stories, several essays, and translations of number of foreign literary works. So Premchand is the first Hindi author whose writings prominently featured realism. What is meant by realism? Realism means his stories depict or they picture real life. He is not living in the world of fancy. He wants to focus real life. His novels describe problems of poor and urban middle class. So this writer is interested in the life of poor classes and middle classes, but he is interested in urban middle classes. Uh, He used literature for the purpose of arousing public awareness about national and social issues. So he has handled social problems in his novels and short stories. And he wrote about topics related to particularly which topics he has handled in his writings. First one is the corruption, then child widowhood, then prostitution, then feudal system, poverty, colonialism, and on the Indian freedom movement. So he is, we can say that he is a social writer handling social problems. Now today we want to discuss his famous short story, The Shroud. The Shroud is actually translation of his story, very famous story, Kafan. And you know what is the meaning of kafan in Marathi. You know that kafan is also used in the same sense that is in Hindi. There is the same word that we pronounce kafan. Kafan is a particularly cloth that is used for the uh, death ceremony of a person. When person dies, we bring such a type of the cloth, and that cloth is that dead body is uh, wrapped in that cloth. Okay, so the shroud is a translation of famous short story of Premchand, that is of a kafan. So your story begins. This story takes place in the village, in a small village in India, particularly. Background of this story, setting of the story is village in India. There are three important characters: father, son, and Budhiya, who is the son's younger wife. The story takes place at the in the village, and there are two important characters. The father and the son were sitting right in front of entrance of shack beside a fire that had long gone out inside. So first two lines of the story tells you that the father and the son, they are sitting in front of their shack. Shack means we can say hut. So they are living in a village. They are sitting in front of their particularly hut. But what is the inside? Inside is the third character, and name of that third character is Budhiya. Who is this Budhiya? Budhiya is son's younger wife. So this is a third character. But what is the condition of Budhiya? Budhiya was writhing in labor. Labor pain. Labor pain means what here? She is giving birth to child. She has completed her 9 months of the pregnancy, and she is giving birth to the child, and she is in a labor pain. Her condition is very bad. There is no one to look after Budhiya. No one, in a sense, there is not any other lady or her mother-in-law or anyone in the house, but there are only two characters. Again, they are male characters, father and son, and they are outside that particular hut. and she is in labor pain. Her heart-rending cries made the father and son hold their hearts. It was a desolate wintry night, and the whole village was enveloped in darkness. So, this is the background of the story. At the background, there is a night. Night is again symbol of we can say innocence, symbol of death. Again, it is wintry night, and this whole village was enveloped in darkness. At that time, Budia is in labor pain. She is inside the hut. She won't last, it seems, said Ghisu. Who is this Ghisu? Ghisu is the name of the sun. She has been tossing and turning the whole day. Go in and see what's wrong. Sorry, Ghisu is the name of a father here. And father tells son that you have to go there and look at her, that she is tossing and turning. She is in a very bad condition. And father tells his son that go in and see what's wrong. You have to help her. Why doesn't she just die if she has to? What's there to see? Madho whined piteously. So this remark is very cruel one. He has no particularly emotions and feelings for his wife. He says that instead of tossing and turning or doing all these things, she has to die. Why doesn't she just die if she has to? Means she is going to die. And why she is not dying? What's there to see? What to see? Madhav whined piteously. You are so cruel. You spent a whole year with her happily, and now you are turning your face away from her. So, this particular conversation is between father and son. Father wants his son to help his daughter in law, but son is uh, has a particularly no emotions and feelings or soft corner for his wife. I can't actually. What is the reason why he can't help her? I can't bear to see her writhing in pain, flailing her hands and legs. So this particular remark of son tells you that he cannot bear the critical condition of his wife, and that's why he don't want to enter the house. Ghisu and Madhu were charmers by caste. Chambar. By caste, they are charmers. So this particular paragraph tells you that uh, these two important characters are from actually poor classes, downtrodden classes, and were treated with contempt by the whole village. Contempt means the whole villagers or the whole village contempted these two characters. For every day that Ghisu worked, he shirked duty for three. But the real shirker was Madhu, who sat and puffed at the chilam, chilim for an hour after each hour of work that he put in. That is why no one hired them. They wouldn't seek work if they had even a fistful of grain at home. Only when they mastered a couple of meals did Ghisu climb up a tree to gather some dry branches which Madhu carried to the market to sell. As long as that money lasted, they simply roamed about, faced with starvation. Starvation means they don't get eating. Starvation, bhuk badi. Faced with starvation again, they would gather dry wood or seek some other work. So this paragraph tells you that these two characters, character of father and son, they are from Chamar class caste, and they were treated by the whole villagers with contempt, dvesh, tiraskar. And what type of these two persons are? These two persons are lazy persons. They are not hard workers. Actually, for their day to day life, they collected dry branches and they carried it to the market, they sell, and they got money. And with that money, they uh, particularly eat, they manage their eating. There was no dearth of work in the village. Actually, keep in mind, there is a lot of work. Dearth means what? Lack of work. Actually, there is a lot of work. The peasants means here farmers. Peasants means here villagers who lived there could have given them all kinds of jobs, but they called the Dio only when they were desperate and had no option but to employ both to get the work done, which could otherwise have been accomplished by one. Had the father son duo been sadhus, they wouldn't have been required a practice self restraint for attaining contentment. It was second nature to them. So, this paragraph tells you that these two characters were lazy. No doubt there is a lot of work, but they don't want to work hard. A strange life they led. So these two paragraphs tells you day-to-day life of the Madho and Ghisu. Ghisu is a father of Madhu, and Budhiya is a wife of Madhu. So this story Kafan is woven around these three important characters: Ghisu, Madho, and Budhiya. A strange life they led. They had nothing in the house. Now we are in the house of uh, these characters. The description the writer has thrown utter poverty in their particularly house. They had nothing in the house except for a couple of clay utensils. Utensils means pots. How many pots are there? A couple, two. So there are two clay utensils. Clay, मातीची भांडी, clay utensils. They covered their nakedness in a tattered rags. So keep in mind, even they don't have clothes to cover their body. Their clothes were tattered rags, फाटलेले कपडे आहेत. So they don't get even uh, proper clothes to cover their body. They don't have any utensils in their house. Even though they were free from the temptations of life, they were burdened with debt. Actually, they are in debt, curse. They listen to people's insults and abuses with perfect uh, equanimity. They were so destitute that people lent them things without any hope of getting the same back. They would enter other people's fields, steal potatoes and peas, and roast them to fill their stomachs. Or they would uproot a few sugarcane stalks and suck the juice through the night. So, what type of the life they are living? They are living very lazy life. They are not hard workers, and writer has given uh, two, three ways to collect money and how to live, how they lived. What they do, first of all, they would enter other people's fields and steal potatoes and peas. Peas, peas and potatoes they used to steal and roast them to fill their stomachs. So, to eating, for their day to day eating, they used to steal potatoes from the other people's fields and they used to roast it and eat. Second option, they would uproot a few sugarcane stalks and suck. They used to suck the juice of the sugar cane throughout the night. So these things focus that no doubt Gisu and Madhu they were poor. Why they are poor? Because they don't want to work. No doubt there is a lot of work in the village, but because of their laziness, careless life, they are living in such a type of the condition. So today I want to stop here. In the next lecture, we will continue the story. In meantime, you should complete the reading of this story and underline the difficult words that we can discuss. Thank you very much.